How do guys? Grand hauler. I'm going to make a start on it now. So most of you know I were going to try and go live with this on YouTube, but not being a technical person and all that with computers, epic fail, absolute epic fail. I'll give it an attempt, and for the few of you that tuned in, you probably just seen me froze in a little box in the top of the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a start and pre-build it and film it while making it all up, and then I can edit that. That way you're not actually sat there as well, you know, just watching all the boring stuff that drags out. I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. I'm going to go via the manual, step by step. So for you that have experience in building, might be a bit boring for you, however it's probably better than what you're offered on the telly. And for those that are maybe new to building or no experience, then this should certainly be ideal for you guys. Now, before I make a start, I will be going to another camera to film this. So before I do make a start on this, I've gone to the first step basically in the manual, and it basically tells you like your tools required. So I'm in my living room here, so I've only got a little time before my daughter gets back from school. So here we've got basically the tools required. You know, there's all various bits in there with flathead screws, star drives, Allen keys, sort of stuff. You'll need some snips for snipping it off, the sprues, your parts, a file for them filing down the parts, another screwdriver, another snippet bit, and a scalpel kit, because we just love to scalpel stuff. So yeah, they're your basic stuff, and then all my parts bags with the screws, everything else, I've tried and simplified that and made it easier for myself, and it saves just rummaging through bags. Now I've organised everything into all the sizes of screws that they are. They're just all mixed nuts, so I'll work out what nuts will be what. But I will be getting another one of these so I can then separate all the little bits and separate the washers from the little nuts, and then everything has its own compartment. But you can do this, but also if it helps, you can write then on these, and then you know what you're looking for example like a BA6 or a BA8 or whatever they are in the book, you know. Smaller stuff, again I need more compartments, so I'll sort that. Bearings, bits and bats, E-clips, circlips, whatever you call them. Servos, they'll be the first part. There's just like gearbox bits and bats in there, metal parts, and then the rest is just under the table. Just accessible. So, we'll go ahead now and we shall make a start. Right, so the grand hauler. So we're going to work it step by step. Now here it tells you what to do with your servos and putting your servo horns on. I have my servos here. A high torque servo and just a normal servo for my shift rod. I'll put the horns on later. But step one, I want the servo brackets and the servos. Now all your screws, they'll come with their own individual numbers, so a good way for reference if you're unsure on the screw is, it's great. So here, only a small one, which I presume is a BA10, so BA10. And if you just, it's a good way of organising. All your screws are in real size on the graph. So there you go, that's that one. So I've got all my nuts, everything all nicely organised now finally. So first thing you're going to need is your chassis rails. And again, just match them up as they are in the book. And it tells you on the side, so this is the left and it's the front, that's the right and it's the front. So we know where we're working from with them. Right, so for the first two sections, or should I say the first, well yeah, the first sections, 2 and 3 and 4, so the first page, sorry, I've took out all the nuts and screws that I need. Tells you what you need, how much you need for each section. It doesn't tell you the plastic parts off the trees. However, if you do, look, that's part C3 and that's this plastic part, and then you have part C1, C2. So they'll be off a parts tree, and there is a parts tree, and if you look on your parts tree, like, you'll find this is E. It says E printed onto the sprues, so you know what you're working from. And then by each part it has its own individual number. So for example, you'll have like E1, E2, E3, 4, etc, etc. So basically all I've done is I've took the C parts tree and I've took the parts I need off C, i.e. C1, C2, C3. So I'll show you again. It's parts C1 and 2. So C1, 2. And again on that it's a C, so that'll be C3. So they are very, very straightforward and very simple to work from. So let's make a start on the Grand Hauler. So I'm sorry to waffle on, and as I said earlier, a few of you people who already have experience with building RC trucks, you will probably find this quite boring. I'm aiming this at more of the new builders and people with little to no experience whatsoever. So my first bits here are my G1s, and those are just little servo brackets. Now, so we're going to need servos. So which was which? Yep, this was my shift rod servo. Really straightforward. Now some screws you may have a struggle getting into the plastic, but don't worry about it, they're probably just a self-tapping screw like these. So basically you are just screwing the thread in, and you do get your thread screws and they're easy enough. So then my servo brackets, ready to take the servos. So there's your first and second step out the way. Step 3, and sorting out the cross members and the centerpiece for your double drive axle. Now this is why snips and a file are handy. Now things do just break off the sprues with a little bending, or you can just nip them off. And once you've got your bits nipped off, whatever you can't get off, take your file and then the smooth pips. It depends how fussy you are. If you want a perfectly built kit, then go to town and smooth everything down. There we go. righty ho. So for this, simple, one on top of the other. Again, your screws, which it says, I've already got this page out all ready to go. So one screw in one. Now, to know where to screw and what to screw where, when you look at the instructions, you'll find a picture of your screw and then just follow the line on the arrow of where it's asking you to put that screw into. As I said, they are a very simple kit. They just get fiddly depending on the cabs once you start putting the cabs together. But if you've built one kit, the chassis and the whole principles of the following kits are all virtually the same principle. One might have a twin axle, one might have a single axle, and depending on whether you're a European truck or an American truck, the front of your chassis will be different because it's mounting a bonnet and not a cab. So again, just snip them off. A little file where you've snipped them, keep it smooth. So here are 2 nuts. And it just wants to go in there. So this is basically your step 2 and your step 3. Your first step was the servo horns, but as I said, I'm going to do that at a later time. So, number 4. Now we get the ladder constructed on the chassis. Again, it's simple. So we've got these organised from left and right, so we know what we're doing here. Now in the instruction manual, you're working off the right hand chassis rail, so we'll go with that. Line up the hole you want. Again, just following off the instructions. This one with the washer on. Now once you've got everything in on the first side of the rail, the second side's easy because you just basically screw the other side of the rail to everything you've already done down this half of the rail. But we'll get to that in a moment. Now with some parts you will be asked to use Loctite on the screws. Now that's down to you whether you use that or not. Me personally, I'm not using Loctite because I pull my trucks to bits that often. So Loctite, I'm not out anywhere where it's being rattled to death anyway and nuts and bolts are going to come loose. So I should be okay without it. There might be the odd part where I will need it, but as frequent as the manual wants you to use Loctite, I won't be using it as frequent. So now we want the 4 cross members. And if you look down the inside of the chassis, there's 2, one there, one there, one there, and the other one's there. So that's where the cross members are going. Now make sure you have these the right way up. So in this case, the lip to the top. We'll have one going there, 2 screws in each. So once you've got one cross member in, and just repeat for the rest of the chassis rail where it wants you to put the cross members in. So once you've got your cross members in and your double drive axle member, rear, front cross members and your servos, your ladder chassis should be looking somewhere along these lines now. And that were relatively easy, wasn't it? So now it's even easier, because all we're doing now is taking the opposite side of the chassis rail, literally just gonna pop that in there, and again repeat with the screws right the way through, and not forgetting your little suspension bracket which goes on the outside there. So I'll get them screwed up. So there you have it. That is literally the basics to constructing the ladder. So that's complete. And in the next video we shall turn the page and proceed to start the more fiddlier parts. I hope you found that useful, and I know some of you would have found it boring. So there you have it. That is the Grand Hauler chassis. So if you want to see more, please do give us a big thumbs up, drop me a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed, please do give me a subscribe. I appreciate all the support I'm getting so far, and I'm still, it's just overwhelming, it really is. So I really appreciate all that. And yeah, as I said, we'll catch you in the next video when we start getting slightly more technical with a chassis. It's not that it's more technical, it's just bits get smaller and slightly more fiddlier. So thanks again people, take care, have fun with your builds, hope this is of use to you, and peace out till the next video. Ciao for now guys.